Hello everyone,
Hello,
my name is Juliette
my name is Anna.
and we are
Words.
Words. So today we will talk a lot about classics.
Yes, and classics books we really liked in our life, and it's changed something inside
Yeah,
us.
the book that really meant something for us.
Who starts?
You can start
I can.
one?
I can start. I should speak quicker. Speaker. Okay, so if it was our subject, and when I think about it more, I think that I should start to think about my childhood and my first book, which really means something more for me and change something. So I very quickly had this idea, like the title in my head, and it was Pustyni i puszczy. Written by Henryk Sienkiewicz. It's a desert and wilderness, and it's an obligatory book in my school. But I read it before. I have to read it, so it's good for me. And it was about wild Africa. So I lived in a poor grey country here, and I don't know that a big space and a big landscape exists. So this book changed my thinking about the world and opened the window for adventure. So it was great for me, and I met in this book the animals I never met before, only on a picture, but it was amazing for me when I was a child. And then when I come back to this book when I was older, I checked something bad inside, but I cannot focus on this thing when I was a child. So the books are has a colonization approach, and it's not in a good way to showing the exotic and the differences. So, but for children, it was really like a new view on a world, so it was really cool.
I think Sienkiewicz has been translated. Can you tell us what should be the title?
Okay, it's like a desert and wilderness.
Oh, okay, so that's the title, Desert and Wilderness.
Yes.
Okay.
The wilderness, yeah. I think it's the wilderness, like a puszcza.
Okay.
Because pustynia is desert, for sure. And puszcza is like the forests are there. And
Okay.
okay, so it was my first traveling book, and I think that it means something more for me because now I'm a traveler. I love travel, so
Yeah, and it's a good example, like books that you had to read in school, but like you love anyway, and like classics that you can actually enjoy on their own.
yeah.
My first is like this too. I had to read it for my baccalaureate, like the exam at the end of high school, so matura for the Polish people, and it's called Liaisons dangereuses, so dangerous liaisons. And so yeah, I had no idea this book existed before I had to read it.
I read this book in my life.
Probably. It's a book by letters, and it's absolutely amazing because there is it's just people sending letters to each other. It's a book. It takes place in the 18th century, but it's really great. There is so much like subtext and characters like mocking each other but never openly and everything. And also in this book there is my one of my all-time favorite book characters, and which is La Marquise de Merteuil.
For now, like it started then and it's
still I love her, and she's such a strong woman character because she it said in the book like she had been married and then she stayed a widow. She never remarried because it allowed her like more freedom, and like she's an awful character. Like she likes to like take revenge on people or sometimes make them suffer and so on, but she's self-made. She made herself really there is a line in the letter when she says that she used to plant a fork in her thigh to train herself to feel pain, but to show a smiley face, because in France at the time, like, it's all about the smiley face. It's all about the appearances and everything. And this is like about these two characters, so Marquise de Merteuil and the Vicomte de Valmont, and they have like this intense relationship, like they are the only one able to understand each other, but at the end they end up at war, and it's destroying, and it's beautiful and amazing, and I love it.
I had a very similar story in my second book, you know, it's Anna Karenina, written by Lev Tolstoy, and it's not the similar story inside, but I recognized a really strong portrait of women inside, and it was a fatalic woman, so
Femme fatale.
Femme fatale, yes, and probably Lev Tolstoy he had never think about himself that he is a feminist, but he did a really good thing that to go very deep in psychological portrait, and then give us and create for us a really strong and self-confident women who didn't want to live like everyone around. And you know the story. Everyone knows the story. Like it's
I don't. I've
okay.
never
So I
seen
told
or read
a
the
little
book.
because it shows what she decided and what was her decided the definition of being a woman. So she has an older husband, Alexei Karenin, and she doesn't feel comfortable with him. So she really needs something more, and she thinks a lot that these roles are so empty and so small for her. So she falls in love in a young, beautiful man in Bronte, and it was the harder and the worst probably decision for her life, because it changed her life forever, and go her to dark side of her life. But it was her decision, and she shows us that it's really important to be more than the rules, society rules. So do something in your heart and your mind, or your voice inside said to you not to people talk you should. So it was like a sign for me, and I love this character, and it's a really famous character woman now. So thank you, Lev Tolstoy. Good job.
Actually, my next book is also like with a very famous female character, and written by a man that is not known for being feminist at all. It's Nana by Émile Zola. So you cannot go more classic than Zola, 19th century French literature, and you know, like he was very misogynist. He was very like also quite racist and problematic in many different ways. But the thing, like, he was a naturalistic. He was like that the reality, and he had an attention to detail that is really like unprecedented. And that's the thing, like, even if he didn't like women, and the women in his books like end up very badly, he cannot help but make them real character, very complex and very like profound human beings.
Yes.
And this actually fascinated me when I read it, and I chose to integrate it to the thesis I had to write for the end of my master's degree. And because like first it's beautifully like written, and there are like some extracts of prose that are really like amazing. But then this character is fascinating. Like, this is a woman, she's not thinking that much. She is a femme fatale, but like she doesn't even want it. Just men die and wither and decay just by being near her, you know. And it fascinates me how a man like Zola thought like women were so dangerous that you don't even need to speak to them or to really
so
like
it's possible when you are good observation and you try to understand a woman,
the world, like
the world.
human beings, like
exactly.
and she's like, it's like, yeah, this is a bit like supernatural, like the fact that everybody like decays near her, but yeah, she has also a very complex psychology, like much more than you thought when you study like her relationship to motherhood, and when you study like her past and her relationship with her family. It's
complicated portraits. It's like
it is, and it's all about a silly blonde, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is really fascinating to me, and I would love to. It's the kind of thing that you can read again and study again different aspects.
Yeah, so the similar experience. And now when I take a book, I really need something like that about the character. So if I don't have a really deep portraits and I don't feel that people are alive inside, it's poor for me, you know. I'm not interested so much. So because of books like that.
Yeah, and this is a book like you can see the characters going out of the page and living their own life.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, what's your favorite book?
Okay, my favorite, Crime and Punishment, Fyodor Dostoyevsky written it, and it was amazing experience for me. Like I give really, it was like. Okay, it was so that I cannot speak about it. It's so hard to get some ideas.
Yeah.
It's like it's a dark story, and it's a okay. I have to get it metaphysical, like a metaphysical story about the human, and it's a really ambitious portraits of the main characters, Raskolnikov, and it's everything. It's about the crime, and about it not like who killed. It's not the most important. The most important is why people are able to kill someone, and they try and think about it, and the logical side of us, the brain, can give you steps to do it. It's like you can get some arguments, and it can be a logical arguments to think that you are able and you are a special person who can kill someone. So big questions. There is some special appearances and some special people who really can kill someone, and if it's why. So big questions, and I love this book for these big questions. It was really heavy for my brain, and I think that I don't know the answer right now. It's like still gray, you know, it's not black and white, and this book shows me that everything around is like a gray, never black and white. So I can read this book all the time.
Yeah. My last book is much lighter compared to yours. It's Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I hesitated a lot for this first book because there are many more classics that I love and that I could have put in this place. But yeah, I wanted a book by a female writer and a book that meant a lot to me, and I read it quite young. I think I was at the end of middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just after my Jane Austen phase, and I started to read the Bronte sisters. I could never go through Wuthering Heights.
all books of this author, you know?
Yeah. I still haven't read Villette.
You should. To. I think that you love it, like the
I think I will
whole story of this author.
Yeah. But like Jane Eyre meant a lot to me because I saw myself in her. Like, fortunately, thankfully, I was not abused like she was in her childhood, but but still, like, I could really relate to her. And like many people will tell her, yeah, it's about like the story of Rochester, of her love, and it's so not about that.
It's like a mirror
Yeah.
inside, and you can see your shadow.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like this is such this. If you don't want to read it because of that, like it's such a small part of the book, like really. It's about like her growing up and then like getting out of her abusive childhood home and then returning there like years later and how she deals with this and with family. It's about many things and also
I love a taste of humor there.
Yes, it's really light but always like very pertinent and also
ironic, I think.
yes, sometimes like really. But I admire Jane Eyre also. Because she always sticks to her convictions and her values, you know, and like she is sometimes faced with very hard choices, like when she has to leave Thornfield, and she does it, like even if it means like wandering outside like for days and not knowing where to go, because she knows like she wouldn't be able to live with herself if she did not do it. So. Like she has values and convictions, and she's follow through on this. And this is such strength of character from a little girl that was like that had such a hard childhood, and it really also inspired me for this.
I could understand your feeling. So you have the most important list of book. You have to read. Oh, you can add something more because.
I mean, I wanted to give special mentions to two books. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, that I read only a couple of years back and I really loved it, and I bought it and recommended it to many people and they loved it.
For me too.
Yeah. And Journal d'une jeune fille rangée by Simone de Beauvoir, Diary of a what's the English title? I don't know. I'm gonna write it somewhere. And the same, like I saw myself growing up, but I read it as an adult, so it was a different experience for me and not as powerful. And also I wanted to mention, we did not show you any books, but like as far as I'm concerned, I read them all on this. This is my ebook reader, because classics are always for free because they are public domain, like most of them, like
you can find it on internet.
So yeah, you can find them for free on internet or like for really cheap in a good edition.
Yes. So
and when you travel, it's
lucky.
really good.
The most important book. It's so easy to get it and try to have it and read.
So you should read more classics. It's really worth it. Okay, so that's all for today.
We want to say goodbye for now, but not forever.
See you probably in January, hopefully.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.